Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion.
And just like that, we're back for another week. But it's a somber week.
Mm-hmm.
Last week was mini somber because we lost the team that probably shouldn't have been in the position they were in anyways. But this week we have lost the other side of the country. The West has fallen, and now the East. But that's okay. We're still going to talk about it. And fortunately for us, football's not going anywhere. It'll be back next year. But there's still football left. There's still 3 games left to be played. So, we'll enjoy those 3 games. And then the real fun begins. Football is fun to watch, but the offseason is its own adventure, shall we say.
Yeah.
I mean, some off seasons bring us things like Stephon Diggs. You're just like elated. You're so happy. Oh, my gosh. And then you draft people like DK Metcalf. You're like, oh my gosh, this season's going to be so much fun. The offseason can bring so much joy. So we'll see what this offseason brings the Seahawks and Bills. Well, like I said, 3 more games left. Still get to watch some football. This is, in fact, Fans of the Week, brought to you by your hosts,
Derf
and Dylan. That's my line. Got lost in translation there. Yeah, that's what I say. My name's Dylan. So this is episode 20. We made it to 2-0. So yeah, that's what it'll take. So a full season, if the Seahawks or Bills make it to a Super Bowl, we'll have 22 episodes, 23 maybe. Would be a full season, just about. I don't remember when we started this. We started this in preseason, right? Or did we start a regular season? It was so long.
No, I thought we started for a week. We started for a week 1.
Okay, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Because preseason sucks. No one wants to talk about preseason. Let's get on here and talk about how the 4th stringers played. No one wants to do that. So we did have ourselves a somber week last week in the divisional round. The Seahawks did not play, but the 49ers played the Cowboys in a game that seemed close. It was not close at all, actually. I don't know. It was a weird game. It really never felt at any point in that game the Cowboys were actually going to win. But the score would tell you that it was a close game. And it just, for some reason, I was just sitting there going, Cowboys aren't going to win. The whole way through it is it's just not going to happen. What else happened? What are the other games? We had the...
let's see. Early Saturday was Jaguars Chiefs.
Oh yeah, the old Jags.
Kind of close. That was pretty in back and forth. Hard fought game.
If it wasn't for the late turnovers, the Jags
they had a chance.
They had a chance. Some late game turnovers. That's how it always goes.
Yeah. So that was a game where the Chiefs had to earn it.
Yep.
Jaguars have I think a positive outlook for next year. But then the other game,
I forgot this game happened because it wasn't much of a
game. The Eagles had practice.
Yep.
And the Giants happened to just be there.
It was one of those, mesh practices that they do, they kind of just play each other, just half pads, half contact kind of thing, It was weird that they brought so many fans to the practice, so the stands were filled for the practice. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something the Eagles just do.
Very lively bunch of people for practice.
Yeah, it was wild. I went out to a restaurant / bar to watch that game. It was so depressing. I was like, oh, this will be fun. Go out, have a couple beers, watch a football game. And I couldn't even, because I had a bet riding on that game too, and the bet hit in the first 2 drives of the game. So I didn't even have that going for me. It's God damn it. Yeah, it was a uneventful evening. But then we have obviously the fourth game that occurred.
Yeah.
Our early day Sunday game. The Bengals went to a snowy Buffalo
Yeah.
and took care of business.
Yep. The Bengals flexed their muscles and beat up a Bills team that didn't really have a really good reason to be out on the field. It seemed like.
I think Matt Milano said it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like Matt Milano just said, like, at no point there was no spark, no one had any heart. There was nothing for the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's tough to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough to hear. Going into a divisional playoff game, that your team couldn't find a spark to play well. That's depressing.
Yeah. It's it just seemed so odd as to why they couldn't, and like I think because they just ran out of energy. But the Bengals offense had their way with this Bills defense, and I was very surprised for a defense that's proclaimed as being so good and so this and so that, and the Bengals said, "Huh, they're a bunch of high schoolers. Watch me throw this ball to the open receiver with nobody around them for 15 yards, and then they'll run, and then Jamar Chase runs into the end zone." Like, okay, how are those going to stop that? And they can't stop a 3-yard pass on towards the sideline, and then they leave no one on him, the receiver for the Bengals. It was bad.
I took zero positives away from the game. I don't know how you do. Like, there's nothing happened in that game for the Bills where I went, well, at least they can grow on that. Nothing.
I mean, I guess if you want to say a positive, James Cook's going to be RB1 next year.
Factual truth. Yep. Singletary's days are pretty much numbered.
Pretty much, yeah. Josh Allen had no time, and Joe Burrow had all the time in the world.
You would have thought the Bills' offensive line was the one with 3 backups on it.
Right?
Like, because the Chiefs' O-line, again, we talked about the Bills' defense not having a spark. So it might have not been entirely the Bengals' offensive line playing a bunch of all-stars, and it was more of just the Bills' defense just not trying. I don't know. Because that's what it looked like. It just looked like the Bills weren't trying most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care to cover receivers. They didn't care to pass rush. It looked like a highly uninspired football team.
Like, Bills defensive players were running into each other on the pass rush. Like, stay your lane and get out of the way of someone.
Like, I know they run stunts and stuff like that, so maybe there was a minor communication issue that ran into some of these things. But you're in a divisional round of the playoffs. Figure this out. This kind of stuff should be hammered in by now. Like, you're pretty deep into the season. It's the divisional round of the playoffs. If you can't figure out if you're supposed to be stunting or not.
The Bengals O-line looked like they were all pro players.
Yeah.
Because of how good they were.
Yeah, 3 backups, and the Bills could not get through.
No excuses for the Bills to not be able to get more than a sack.
It seemed like Joe Mixon was averaging like 8 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other part of it. There was no pass rush, but
no run defense either.
No run defense, which has been a staple for the Bills this season.
Right.
But it seemed like, again, he averaged 5.3 yards a carry, 20 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Especially, I feel like a lot of that came late in the game when they just started like, we have the lead, let's let Joe take care of it. It was like almost a first down every run, it felt like. Or at least close. It was just gashing.
Yeah. Like this game felt like 2 years ago when the Bills in the AFC Championship got shellacked by the Chiefs. And it was like, oh, here we go. Bills found it. They found a new team that they can't beat. That This offensive this scheme on offense and defense is better than the Bills. Why did they not prepare for this? This is theoretically the second time they're seeing this team. First game didn't finish, but they were prepared.
As far as I could tell, there have been no answers given.
Right.
Like, other than, Matt Milano's comments, there really hasn't been anyone that's just come out and said, yeah, this is what happened. This is why we didn't play well. They out-schemed us. Like McDermott said, he got out-coached. That means nothing to me. Obviously, you got out-coached because you got absolutely torched in every facet of the game. I want to know the details of what you think went wrong, and who I would prefer to have some form of blame. I need answers. The fan base deserves answers after a performance like that in a playoff game. I think that is not too much to ask for, personally, when Bills Mafia's, hyping up the team all season for the past couple of seasons, expecting results, and you do that in your home stadium, and everyone says, oh, it's snowing. That means it's Bills time. This is our environment, and you got shellacked. I think the fan base deserves, in detail, answers from what you said in the locker room to each other, what you think went wrong.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I thought of another positive to this game.
Okay, let's turn it around. Let's do positives. Okay.
Josh Allen only threw one interception.
Hey, okay.
Hey.
And it was like at the end of the game too, on like a kind of like a Hail Mary-ish kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So, okay. So he almost went turnoverless.
Almost went turnoverless. Still couldn't, get good offensive drives, but I don't necessarily always. I'm looking at the matchups to watch here from what we talked about last week. I put the blame on Ken Dorsey on this more than Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen's probably like on a scale of one, like on a list of 1 to 10. I'd put him in like an 8.
Okay.
I think there's many more factors or many more contributors to this loss than Josh Allen as being a top reason. I think Ken Dorsey is probably number 2.
What's number 1?
Leslie Frazier.
Okay, I want to confirm that real quick. wanted to completely make sure everyone was aware that was number 1.
Yeah. So Josh wasn't super accurate. There was some miscommunication, I think, on some plays, but I think that has to do with Ken Dorsey's play calling. I think there's something in Dorsey's offensive scheme, that doesn't play well with Allen all the time. So it's Ken Dorsey's first year. They're gonna give him another shot this year, probably. See if he can grow. See if Josh Allen can play better. But I think if not, then I think it's to the curb and all right, see you later.
I think best case scenario is Dorsey somehow manages to get one of these head coaching jobs, because I know he's interviewed at least for the Panthers. So
he interviewed for the Panthers, so I mean that is an option. I mean,
that'd be best case scenario.
If they really want to take him, okay, send me the address to pack his bags.
I will drive you to the airport, sir.
And kick you out along the way.
Free of charge. I won't even charge you. Gas is on me.
That offense was not balanced. Going back to the matchups here to watch.
Never is.
Run game was terrible. James Cook played a lot more than Devin Singletary, and I think James Cook they leaned on him a little more, played him more in the scheme. I think they're just they were preparing themselves for the offseason and thinking and knowing that, Devin Singletary is probably not coming back. Was not a good balanced offense at all. And I think that hurt the defense even more.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals defense looked fine against the Bills offense. I don't no issue in the secondary. Bills couldn't open it up. Granted, Bills receivers couldn't catch the ball half the time.
Yeah, we got 19 carries, where 8 of them were Josh Allen runs, which let's go ahead and assume 4 or 5 of those are scrambles and the other 3 may be designed runs.
Right, like the touchdowns.
Yeah, there was like the 2 back-to-back runs.
Yep.
So I'll say 5 of them were scrambles. So 3 designed runs. That would give us a total of 11 plus 3. So 14 designed running plays from the Buffalo Bills to 42 passes. Just to put some numbers behind what you said about being unbalanced. And then you have the Bengals 34 carries to 36 passes. Literally like almost exactly 50%.
Right. I mean, the Bengals almost had as many first downs as they did plays, like for passing and plays for rushing.
Yeah.
Like that is just absolutely insane. No hot and cold Bengals offense for sure. They were
it might have been hot. Like a little cold because it was snowing, but that's definitely not what we're talking about here.
Yeah. No, it was a Bengals offense. It was a Bengals offense that just did at will. And if this team still has the Chiefs number, we'll see the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Very curious to see how this plays out. I think we get some of the best football of the season next week. I know there's only 2 games, but I think the matchups between the two, that's so good. Which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah. And then the last other point here, that we kind of mentioned already about the banged up Bengals offensive line. Yeah, Bill should have a field day with the pass rush. Bill's pass rush didn't exist. That
was my big point last week. If the Bills get past the backups and generate pressure, they could win this game. Yeah. They did not. I'm not saying that's the only reason they lost, obviously, but I think it would have helped. It would have slowed momentum for the Bills offense, maybe generated some momentum for the defense to keep making them punt, and then maybe the offense gets some of that juice and makes a drive or two. Obviously, we got none of that.
Yeah, we got none of it. What really didn't help the Bills defense was some choice play calls on defense for the Bills. There was some blitzing where the Bengals literally had to just do like a 2-yard dump pass, and there goes the Bengals receiver for 15 yards because the Bills secondary was playing off the ball so far that they just gave them 3 yards on a short. It was like 2nd and 4, 2nd or 3rd and 4 or something. It was close. Like, why do you not play man against that situation or play up closer in that situation? And it was just confusing, concerning, frustrating. Like, what were they thinking for these play calls? And like the situational play calling, I think, has to be one of the most concerning things for this Bills team. Looking back at this game, like it was just terrible.
It goes to offense too. I mean, like down in distances, just like weird. Oh, it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, where Josh Allen could easily just go up the middle and pick up 3 or 4 yards because that's just what he's been doing, and it's easy to do that these days, like because of the new style of just pushing your quarterback. You can pick that up easy. No, instead let's kill the drive and like throw the ball in double coverage to Diggs 50 yards downfield. Like if it hits, great, but guess what? It's not. I don't think it didn't once, like all day. Just get the easy yards.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the number one thing we've complained about like all season with this team is just like, like, okay, Josh, go out there and just be Superman and throw 50-yard bombs and we'll score really quick and it'll be really cool. Like there's no, the play calling is just dreadful, and it's both offensive and defensive.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you said, we've been calling it out all year. Run the ball, give me more balance. Be situational to what's going on in the field. Don't just be like, I'm playing. Let's do the biggest play every single time to get the best. Try to get the best. This play has a 33% chance of being successful. Well, that's better than not picking that play. That's not the answer.
It's like Dorsey's trying to play Madden on easy mode, and it's just like, yeah, run straight and I'll throw you the ball. It'll be great. I do this all the time on my Xbox. Like,
right? Like it's just like it's so concerning, and we can talk about this later. When we get into the offseason, but it's like, do the Bills not have the right players for Ken Dorsey's offense, or is Ken Dorsey not right for these Bills players?
I feel like that's a very deep conversation, because as soon as you said that, I already had like 3 thoughts going to my head. So like that can definitely be a next week offseason topic that we dive into.
Right.
But yeah, because we've kind of seeped into like season recap and feelings maybe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'll let you. We can do the Bills first, since we're already talking about it. Just kind of, this is the general end of season griefing moment, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But overall, just this is where we let out our feelings a little bit of just how you feel like the season went. The expectations from the start and then the finish and all that good jazz. Let's hear what you got for your Buffalo Bills.
For the Buffalo Bills, who made it until January 22nd, 2023. May the season rest in peace. It's tough. The Bills literally fought through adversity from when their season ended last year to the Kansas City Chiefs, where we were literally, as a fan base, in complete shock. Going into the offseason, and when everything started to look great for the Bills, every single time things looked good for the Bills, tragedy struck. It was like there was a thunderstorm just waiting off in the distance, gets the right little breeze, and then here comes the lightning bolt for tragedy. This offseason, we started with the Buffalo shooting, which really affected the Buffalo community. The Bills organization, I think, did a great job at being there for the community, and trying to just heal from that. And I think that was a second, mental. I would say mental. We're trying to word this correctly. Like a mental shock. So we had the loss to the Chiefs in the division round. That's a situation where they played their hearts out, didn't get the job done. Okay, now we can focus on next season. We're going to add all these players. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Now it's something where it's like you're being attacked, not on the football field, but off the field. And I don't know if he's built this. And it seemed like all year, these Bills players took one step forward off the field and get hit with 3 steps back. So the Buffalo shooting was the one in the spring. But I think before the season, Dawson Knox's brother passing away, being hard for Dawson. I'm sure many players on the Bills team knew Dawson Knox's brother, because it's a football community from the NFL to the collegiate level, and I'm sure there was another instance of literally mental shock, that they were like, okay, this happened, things happen, we can keep going. A couple games into the season, still no Trey White, still rehabbing that knee, still not up to 100%. So you're missing a starting cornerback on the defense. Oh, there goes Micah Hyde on an injury that I feel like nobody knew what happened, but it was apparent neck injury. Oh, Micah Hyde's done for the season. Oh, our number one slot receiver who was going to battle McKenzie on the offense. Oh, there goes Jameson Crowder with a broken ankle. Well, injury bugs battling the Bills, but the Bills kept fighting on. The Bills fought through adversity over and over and over again. They get halfway through the season. Josh Hurts' elbow playing the Jets, and where they lose.
Not
it
just
was
an
like,
injury, and they lose.
yes, dealing with the elbow pain. We were there for the Vikings game, where we watched them. We literally were on our edge, standing and screaming, and watching this Bills team have all the wrong breaks happen to them. Then we go to Snowmageddon 2.0, where Orchard Park, 7 feet of snow. Bills game gets moved to Detroit for against the Browns. Bills had to fight adversity there. Be able to get out of their houses, get to the airport, get to Detroit, learn how to adjust on the fly. Then we lose Von Miller on Thanksgiving. The key acquisition we thought we needed, who was was able to seal the games when the Bills were playing close, to be able to get that pass rush that they needed. And we lose them on the field that the Bills literally played the week before. A field that so many people complain about the style of the field is because of the injuries it causes to some players. We get through Thanksgiving. Everything's good. Von Miller's will come back. Oh, all of a sudden, torn tendon in Von's knee. He's out for the rest of the year. We'll see him next year. All right. Well, there goes that hope. But we're still doing good. We're still winning. Still winning all these close games. Bills are still doing good. We get to the biggest game of the year for the Bills besides the Kansas City game. We get not even 9 minutes into the game. Damar Hamlin falls to the ground, cardiac arrest. Literally stopped the entire stadium. Stops the entire athletic world. Because this was something we had never seen before. He was literally given CPR, literally giving AED on the field to bring this man back to life. The Bills were in no shape that night to play. They did the right thing by stopping the game. Made sure Damar Hamlin got to the hospital to save his life. Players were literally crying on the field in utter dismay because it was a build-up and a build-up and a build-up of everything that they had gone through this year. So the game was canceled. NFL said, we can't fit it in. If the game would have been a factor to the Bills, getting the 1 seed, we're going to make it a neutral site for the AFC Championship game if it's Kansas City and Buffalo. Sure, that pissed off the Bengals a little bit because they got kind of screwed over on that one. Did it work out for Buffalo? At the time, it was looking okay. All right, Buffalo Bills got to make it to the AFC Championship. We can get a neutral field. We can make it Bills fun. We can get there. All right, we got another positive step. We had some, we fought through some stuff, but we got there. 4 days after Damar, Bills are getting, 5 days after Damar, Bills are getting ready for the Patriots. Season-ending game. Season finale game. Great game. Robinson played great, but Naeem Hines said, "Watch me do this twice, and I'll return the kickoffs." It was great. Everything that just blended there so well. Such positive news from dealing with Damar, knowing he was going to be okay at the time. He was still recovering. And all right, Bills get number 2 seed. they couldn't. They could have gotten the 1 seed if they would have beaten the Bengals. So the neutral site's in place if it's still in place. But Bills literally got to the Dolphins game. All right, Bills are 14-point favorites. Bills should walk all over this. The Bills win by 3 because of how hard the Dolphins played them. All right, Bills get by that. I couldn't. And last week we talked about this. I was all over the place for feelings against this Bills Bengals game. It's going to be great. I seem extremely nervous, but I'm really calm because whatever happens it's going to be a great game. And the Buffalo Bills, after everything, literally hit their breaking point before this game, and they ran out of steam. And any flaws that the Bills could have easily covered up by talent became absolutely fully exposed. The team was I'm blanking on the word now. Yeah, I left it there. But the team, they were considered frauds. I would think they were considered frauds for how badly they played against the Bengals. This team was literally Super Bowl favorites from the divisional. As soon as the divisional round ended last year, people were already looking to next year's game for next year's season for the Bills. Yep, Bills are number 1 on the favorite to win the Super Bowl, just because of how well they played and all the talent that was coming back. They are Super Bowl favorites this year, and they proved that they still aren't ready to take the next step. And we can talk about this down the road when we get more into the offseason. But the question really is, do you blame the players for not being talented enough? Or do you blame the coaches for not executing the talent on the field to 100%?
That's the big question. And that's the question that everyone has been asking, I think, since the game ended.
Yeah.
I think there's been, I've been all over Twitter just following everyone's point of views between coaches, and if it's the coaches, if it's we need to revamp the roster, maybe Josh just needs some new faces on the offense, maybe the defense, we just need to cut off some of the the cap and just start fresh on defense. I don't know. People have been all over the place, and they're like, "Oh, we need to fire every single coach. Get McDermott out of here. Get Frazier out of here. Get Dorsey out of here." If Brandon Beane wants to get fired, we'll just a whole new scheme gets brought in. All right, obviously some of these are to the extreme, and these people are just upset, which is rightfully so. As you just talked about over the past couple of minutes here, once you put everything into perspective that this team went through, when you list it all out that, and you did a beautiful job, by the way.
Thanks.
Once you list it out like that, this, just imagine how this team felt just week after week, just taking punches nonstop, and serious punches, big punches, shootings and relatives, and just crazy injuries to important players, season-ending ones, back-to-back years with Thanksgiving season-ending injuries. It's just stuff like this that it all came to a halt. And maybe that's where their spark went. We came full circle to Matt Milano's comments. Maybe they just were a broken team, and they just couldn't do it for one more week. They couldn't find it for one more week.
Right.
And maybe that's the answer we've been searching for. Your monologue, I think, just answered the question. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. As for the Seahawks, it's not quite as as emotional of a season, because the entire offseason, as soon as the season ended last year, it's like everyone just starts asking the question, well, where's Russell going? There's a couple people that are thinking, that's too extreme. They wouldn't get rid of Russell Wilson. They'd probably fire Pete before they got rid of Russell Wilson. And then the news drops. Russell Wilson is heading to Denver for a boatload of draft picks and a boatload of players. One of them being Drew Lock. So now, maybe we have our quarterback of the future here. Maybe they bring someone else in. Geno's still the backup. It's Geno Smith, so we're not going to be hearing from him. It's basically going to be someone new or Drew Lock. That's what we're going to do here. So everyone's speculating as we head into the season. And even myself, I don't think anyone gave them more than 5 wins for the season. I think I had them at like 4-13 on most days going through the schedule. Some people had them as low as 2 or 3 wins. I don't think I heard anyone ever say more than 5. So that was the expectation for the season. Low as low can be. And then we get closer to the season. We're running through some preseason games. Drew Lock is absolutely dreadful. Geno Smith is like, okay, he's not bad. Pete, we're just wondering, like, what's going to happen? Is it going to be Pete? Is it going to be Drew, Geno? Are we like going to have be a surprise candidate? Nope. We're going to rock and roll with Geno Smith. And that just confirms everyone's theory. This is not a team that is trying to win if you're going to have Geno Smith at the helm. And, of course, week 1, you get to face your former quarterback with the juggernaut Denver Broncos and their stellar defense and stacked offense. You're going to get smoked in week 1. And it's just going to be the sign of end times for Seattle. Well, Geno did not write back. And the magical season started with a shocking win over the Denver Broncos, who Denver finished the 5th worst team in the league, hence why the Seahawks have the 5th overall draft pick. And Geno Smith played absolutely lights out for like 90% of the season. He broke the pass yard record for Seahawks all time. He had the highest completion percentage of all quarterbacks this season. He had a lot of touchdown passes, not a lot of interceptions. He was stellar. He shocked everybody, shocked the world, and he's now, I would imagine, the favorite for comeback player of the year. And he helped lead the Seahawks to a playoff berth, which lasted only 1 short week, but it was fun. It was an exciting time that, no one, and it kind of showed that not just Geno Smith is awesome and probably deserves money no matter who gives it to him, which we'll get to in the future, but that this team as a whole is not as bad as most people think. Now, obviously, we can say a lot of bad things about the defense, but it's also a young defense. We had Tariq Woolen on the outside, who is a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. And we had Kobe Bryant, who kind of got forgotten about as the season went on because he's not as good as we all thought. Darryl Taylor had a great run down the stretch. Boye Mafe hopefully shows his face more often. Uchenna Nwosu, maybe one of the best free agent signings of the offseason. He was lights out. Probably the only person worth a damn on the defensive line was Uchenna Nwosu. And then you got the other side of the ball. You got Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, who were like 2 maybe best rookies across the board. They were absolutely amazing in the tackle spots all season. And they had to face some of the toughest pass. They had to face Nick Bosa 3 times, and they did awesome. They had their moments, obviously, but they're rookies. And obviously, Kenneth Walker, he didn't even start the season. He had to share the backfield with Penny for a few weeks, and he still broke 1,000 yards rushing. He ended the season with 4 straight 100-yard rushing games. The future has a dim light for the Seattle Seahawks. They have, I think, 4 or 5 picks in the first 75 picks of the draft. I trust Pete and John as much as other people don't trust them. I trust them to draft the right people. I don't know where they're going to go. I still have not even decided if I want Geno Smith back or not. The Seahawks will probably make that decision for me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a decision. I think I'm okay either way if he leaves or we sign him. I don't really know where we're going to go. All I know is this team is not as bad as everyone originally thought, as shown by them making the playoffs. I'm excited. I think it'll be a fun offseason. We have, I think, the 3rd most cap space in the league. So a lot of free agents out there. If DeAndre Hopkins is available for a trade, I'm hearing. I'd love to go through the list. We will next week of the free agents that for the defensive side of the ball that we could add, and not just rookies that we can add to this team. I think it'll be a fun offseason for this football team who exceeded all expectations. And I still believe that Geno has not wrote back. I don't think he ever will. What if he retires and then like his retirement announcement is like a video of him like writing a letter? That'd be so cool.
That'd be nice.
That'd be perfect. So it's funny, like in comparison, like we started this podcast talking about the Seahawks and the Bills because those are just our teams, and just thought like, hey, that'd be fun. It's just funny to see how like the seasons played out. Mm-hmm. The Bills season ultimately ends in disappointment because they didn't win the Super Bowl but made the playoffs at least, and then like the Seahawks are full of hope because they made the playoffs at all. Like, and it's like, and where the season's stuck is Bills fans are in the dumps now, and Seahawks fans are like, oh wow, look what we did. And then but you start the season, and Bills fans are like, wow, we're Super Bowl favorites. Like, this is gonna be a great season. And then Seahawks fans are like, we're gonna win 4 games. I don't think you could have gotten 2 different teams and like had 2 different such different results with
flip flop outcomes. Yeah,
right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think these are like the 2 most perfect teams to make a podcast about, really.
Right.
Just because of how they're built right now and like their trajectory moving forward.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. This offseason is going to be fun. And I look forward to the Seahawks being able to catch up to the Bills talent-wise and maybe seeing them in the Super Bowl someday.
That'd be fun.
Can you imagine? Boy, oh boy, that would be something. If the Seahawks and Bills were if played each other in the Super Bowl. Oh man, that this region, like the friend group and everyone, like it would be absolutely insane.
Yeah,
it would be.
It would be. Yeah,
but like whoever the losing team is, like never hearing the end of it ever. Hey, you remember that Super Bowl where? Yeah, shut the hell up. I know what happened. So quickly to round out the show, we do have 3 games left in the season. 2 of them are happening on Sunday. First, we have the Eagles facing the gosh darn 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
I think the matchup, I'm going to say this for both games, the matchups for this game specifically is perfect because you have Jalen Hurts, whose mobility has put the Eagles in the position that they're in.
Yeah.
But the speed of the 49ers linebackers, they 100% have the ability to shut him down. Like, Jalen's not going to be able to just get to the edge. He's not going to be able to just scramble around. They can chase him down and turn that clock that's usually like 5-6 seconds and turn it into like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hectic day for Jalen, I believe. But as much as I say that, the Eagles' defense is its own force as well. And I think forces Brock Purdy's worst game this season, which I'm not saying he completely shuts down because of all the weapons he has. I mean, he's been given a lot as a rookie. I think he plays his worst game, just meaning maybe he actually turns the ball over for once. And that 1 or 2 mistakes he makes is going to cost the 49ers this game. And I say the Eagles win by maybe 3-4 points.
I think it's going to be a close game. But I give the edge to the 49ers.
Ooh, goddamn. Ooh, interesting.
I think, I don't know. It feels like a toss-up game to me.
I 100% agree with that.
But I just feel like the Eagles didn't play a great team in the divisional round. So yes, they kind of cruise into the NFC Championship game, but the 49ers just they're like on a 12-game winning streak or something. It's
Like
ridiculous.
11 or 12.
Like,
Yeah, it's something stupid.
with a rookie quarterback for half of it, and it's like I don't know. I'm leaning more towards the 49ers getting it done this year.
You just
Making it to
think
Super
they're
Bowl.
immovable force against a unstoppable force or unmovable object or whatever the saying is.
Right.
But you just think that the Eagles are a little bit more movable than the Niners.
I mean, I say this all and then watch the Eagles just poop on the 49ers or
just
something.
torch them, yeah.
But no, I completely agree with like Fred Warner and that linebacking core for the 49ers. Like, they're going to be a force to reckon with, I think, for this Eagles offense. And you're literally getting the number one offense versus the number one defense. So you really couldn't have asked for, I think, a better game.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Here, so
this is a great matchup.
I'm glad it's not an NFC East rematch for any of the teams that were involved last week, because that would have been terrible.
Yeah,
nobody wants to see that. And these two teams didn't play this year.
Yeah.
So we don't know how these two are going to really. It's fresh, yes.
Two very young coaches going at it. Yeah, Nick Sirianni and what's his face? You shall not be named.
Kyle Shanahan.
We don't say his name here.
Oh, if I say it two more times, does he appear?
He's appear. Oh God, I don't want to talk. If we bring him on as a guest, I don't know if we'll ever get guests again. I'll just say bad things, get us in trouble. You're a meanie. You could have just let the Seahawks have this. You could have let us win one game against you guys this year. 3-0, really? You got the over-under set surprisingly low for this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's not as low as I guess I was imagining for some reason this might have been like a 52 point over-under. It's set at 46 right now.
I think that's fair.
Like originally I was going to take the under, but at 46... I mean, I could see 24-21, which would put you right on the cusp.
That's still under.
Yeah, it's still under, but like one wrong move and that goes over.
Right.
So
yeah, it'd be close.
The team stats are quite interesting. This is the last thing I'll put on for this game. And we'll move on. But the points per game, 49ers at 26.5, and then the Eagles at 28.1. But it's the points allowed per game. 49ers 17.5, which is very low. The Eagles 7.
Huh.
They allow on average 10 less points than the 49ers.
Wow.
I think a lot of that contributes to a weaker Eagles schedule. I'm not going to say the Eagles are frauds because of a weak schedule. I'm not going there. I'm just saying strength of schedule wise, the Eagles did play weaker opponents, so that might contribute. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. It's a possibility.
So I think this will be – I think this is the perfect matchup for the NFC Championship. I don't think there's two better teams. I don't think there's one better team in the NFC. This is exactly how it should have played out. It's perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
I think the same could probably be said for the AFC Championship game, which we have the Bengals going to the Chiefs.
Yep.
I know that I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying.
I 100% agree with you. I think based after last weekend's games, these are the two best teams. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, Bills didn't get it done. This is what it is.
I think this is the first time I think I've ever at least remember me saying this. I think the four best teams in the league are playing on Sunday.
Yeah,
I think that is completely true.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the Bengals at the Chiefs. How do you think this one plays out? I think you already kind of leaked it earlier, but
I probably did. I mean, I'm thinking this is the Bengals win again. The Bengals just seem to have the Chiefs number, whether it's in Cincinnati or at KC. And I don't know. I'm seeing this as 49ers Bengals Super Bowl, but you know, Twitter prediction verse from 2015 says it's the Eagles year, so
Oh,
we'll see how that turns out.
ooh,
Last
okay.
time I saw one of those, 10 World Series winners, they got this past year wrong, so tells you how reliable that is.
Yeah, they do their
Um,
best.
yeah. But no, Bengals Chiefs. It'd be interesting to see what Patrick Mahomes does.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend. He is probably going to fight through the pain like he did, during the game when they let Chad Henne get out there and throw a nice little touchdown pass and keep the Chiefs rolling. While they did something to Patrick Mahomes, either filled his ankle up with oil because he's a robot, and they had to replace some parts, and got top of the bag off with some gear oil to keep it moving.
So that's what we're calling steroids now. Gear oil.
I mean,
Over
that's what you
under
could.
on 3.5 needles that went into his leg.
I'm gonna say over.
over 3.5. Okay.
Yeah.
You had to get all four sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, right in the ends. Just make sure you cover all the grounds.
Right. So, um, I think this could be a game where the Chiefs offense gets exposed a little bit when Patrick Mahomes tries to do too much. The Bengals defense should be able to contain, I would think, Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco. Although Pacheco just seems like one of those, like, you'll know what I mean when I say this, like a toddler that just runs towards you and then starts flailing their arms and legs at you, and then you're like, how do I stop this? Like they keep going,
And he's like
and then
he's a big guy too. Like I
yeah,
feel
like
like
they
it's not
just
talked about enough, like his size.
right,
He's not huge. He's not like Derrick Henry or anything, but like
yeah,
he's a underrated, pretty big person
yeah.
that flails.
He like literally like flails his legs. He kicks people as he's going forward, so he still has momentum, and it's like, dude, what are you
Got to
doing?
churn
Just
those legs, baby. Just keep churning. That's
I
what they
mean,
teach you.
hit the ground with your leg, not people. Like.
Hey, they got in the way. They're trying to grab my legs. I'm just trying to run here. They're the ones that got in the way.
or like he hits someone and then starts twisting and stuff, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I got you. Like, stop.
I think for a 7th round pick, like what's it with the 7th round this year? You got Brock Purdy and then you got Isaiah Pacheco. What's going on in the 7th
Yeah,
round this year? Jeez, I wonder how many other 7th rounders are out there.
lucky
I have to
number
go and
7.
review. Jeez. I like I've been leaning Bengals just based off of historical facts that like everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals just kind of own the Chiefs. That's just kind of how it's been lately. I
Right.
just the line has been moving a lot. Like when the line
Mm-hmm.
first opened, like as the game ended last week, and this was it. The Chiefs opened up as 2.5-point favorites. The Bengals are now 1-point favorites. The money line is completely even, but the Bengals are now technically favored. I haven't convinced myself yet that the Bengals can win this game. Like I envision a scenario very similar to last year's AFC Championship game, where not maybe like it's literally 13 seconds or like this even goes to overtime. I just think the Chiefs pop off and play like a damn near perfect game,
Mm-hmm.
and just have one extra step more than Joe Burrow.
Oh, so the divisional game last year.
Oh, divisional. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously divisional.
Um.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's basically a rematch of the AFC Championship last year, and like the Chiefs started out hot, and then the
right.
Bengals shut them down late in the first half, and then the Bengals went on to get the lead and keep it close at the end, and then get the game sealing overtime interception. So, I feel like this is the Bengals win. My only concern is that did the Bengals get so hyped up for the Bills that now they fall apart?
They think they won the Super Bowl already.
Right.
Interesting perspective.
I mean, I think it's got to be on Zach Taylor this week to keep the Bengals players in check.
A lot of young players, too.
Keeping them focused, yeah. A lot of guys on rookie contracts.
Eli Apple has been very active on Twitter.
That guy can eat a bag of chips and choke on the last one with nothing to drink.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Zach Taylor's got his work cut out for him right now, I think. If I was him, I'd be making phone calls to a couple players and just kind of like, we still got more games to play, guys. Like, that wasn't it. Let's reel it in here. It's Wednesday. We got to start thinking ahead. All right. And you haven't heard anything from the Chiefs. The Chiefs are keeping their head low. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's a mental difference.
All they keep saying is that Patrick Mahomes, he's going to play next weekend.
I'm sure he does.
Taking it day by day, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Put some tape on it. You're not keeping Patrick Mahomes. He could have lost his leg. He's playing in this game.
If we see some veins popping, I'll be a little concerned.
One shoe's bigger than the other shoe. It's just like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. So I think we're completely flip flopped. I got Eagles Chiefs.
And I have Bengals 49ers. You have the Andy Reid Super Bowl.
Dude, I think subconsciously that's actually just what I want.
Yeah.
I want Andy Reid to face his former team that he took to 4 straight NFC Championship games and lost in a Super Bowl, one Super Bowl with. I want him I want him to face his old team. I want him to face his demons in the biggest game and take them down. Actually, I want the Eagles to win, but I want to see the matchup though. It'd be hilarious.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's just perfect.
That would be something. It'd be a great storyline for 2 weeks.
Oh my God, it's the only thing they would talk about. Holy cow. And the fact that like both quarterbacks are under the age of 30, which like they have just been soaking that in, like, holy new age is here. They're like 23 years old. We know. They don't have wrinkles. We're used to seeing Tom Brady at the age of 40 in these. I know, we get it.
Right.
We know they're young.
Oh,
I just wish the Super Bowl was not 2 weeks apart. I can't do this like media weeks like cycle shit. Oh my God, it's infuriates it because all you get is ESPN notifications for 2 weeks. Read this story about how Jalen Hurts is 23. No, because that's the third one you've sent in the past week. So no, I'm not going to read it. You son of a bitch.
You know what time it'll be for during those 2 weeks? You know what time it'll be for? Instead of reading those articles, we can focus on golf.
Oh my God. Is it golf season yet?
I think the PGA Tour starts up.
The PGA Tours did start
this weekend or next weekend. It starts soon. I know that.
John Rahm is not playing well right now.
Today he's not, but he's won the last 2 tournaments.
I was trying to pull up the score, but it's not showing me, so never mind. Yeah, we could talk about some golf. That would really help break things up. That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Fans of the green.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff.
Fans of the fairway.
Oh my God. So much
because we don't hit the fairway very much.
Because we don't even. We're fans of it.
So we're big fans of it.
Big fans, especially if our ball lands in it somehow. Big fan. Oh my God, big fan of that. So yeah, maybe some golf content coming in the coming weeks here.
Yeah. Got XFL, USFL.
Oh God, yeah.
Football's not over, people.
I'll talk about it next week because I might have an answer to this. So this is your teaser clip for next week's episode. Dylan has renounced the Pittsburgh Maulers. I have done so. for the reason that will be revealed next week on Fans of the Week, brought to you by your hosts,
Derf.
and Dylan. Make sure you tune in for that hot, spicy take, and we'll reveal to you next week that we do have the script, and it will be the Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
You found the script.
Go Eagles and Chiefs.
Go Bills.